All right, everybody, welcome back to Bourbon Banter Evans. It's 2024, and we've done a few things new this year. And Justin, I think we got something else new.
So you're saying that we should continue on with the new for 2024?
I think so.
I say let's do it. I mean, if we're going to do a calendar, we might as well continue on with doing new things, maybe a little innovative, maybe slightly more reviews, maybe something along the lines. Or if we get lucky enough, how about the brand new to our market, first ever, and they were nice enough to let us do a review and notification that these brands are now in our market to look out for.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. So what do we have?
All right, so this is 15 stars. There's bourbon and whiskey, and then we say that because there's obviously a rye on the table, and there's a triple finish cask.
Yes, there is.
And then there's obviously a blend of marriage, is what they call it for bourbons. And then, of course, there's an older one, too, that is missing from the table, and I believe there were some other ones. Now, we've been seeing these in Kentucky,
Yep.
and I've been seeing them a lot on social media as far as advertising on a couple of those sites that sell the different bottles, and into states that allow it. Georgia's not one of those,
Right.
which is where we are now. This is the specific Evans market, so it is new to that. So 15 stars, fine aged spirits, I believe is what they go for. And it has to do with the Commonwealth of Kentucky being the 15th star that was added to the flag in 1795, even though we do know that in 1792 is when Kentucky became a state.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm just grateful for the opportunity. Like we said, it's out there in the market, but new to our market here.
And we also got permission as well to not only be the first to try this and actually let you guys know it's available to look for it in market to try them. We're going to discuss a little bit about quality, something along the lines of high end versus low end versus what we think, things like that. And shout out to Empire Distributors. This is going to be the distributor that's actually putting this in market. So, you know, with their hard work, they're actually going to be able to get these on the shelves for us bourbon enthusiasts to be able to enjoy.
Definitely. Can't wait to try it. That's
and
for
so
sure.
let that also be known for anybody else. Again, we've done reviews of other products years ago that people were nice enough to send us. So if there's a new brand or new launch that you would like to do in Evans when it finally gets into the Evans, Georgia market, we'll gladly talk about it and let people know to help get awareness in what's available. I'm glad that they're on the shelf. So I say we have a nice little pour.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about what we have.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see this in the market. It's fun to see it out there. It's even better to actually see it in market now. So thank you. Appreciate it.
So what we're going to start with is the 7 and 15-year marriage bourbon.
Okay.
So this is the straight bourbon that's on the table. The other ones are rye and some cask finish. Now we're going to be doing smaller pours of these, obviously, because there's 4 of them, and for time constraints, you know, we'll talk a little bit about this. Now this is of the lower price point.
And what I do like is What I like is I love the proof on this one.
Yes.
One of my favorites, 107 proof on this. So
yes, this one is 107. And there's a lot of reason that people like 107.
Oh, yeah.
Let me mention this. If you are not quite done with your bourbon and somebody starts to steal your bourbon, 15 Stars has added an extra luxury weapon, and it's the cork. It then doubles as something you can throw at them to notify them to stop trying to steal your bourbon.
It's got some heft to it, that's for sure.
And so, like I said, we're going to do these small pours and then, you know, kind of discuss what it is. So in the price point, we're not going in price point order, but this is the lowest of the whiskey bourbon without the rye. So the rye, I believe, is the lowest price point for what we've been told. But these are all high end.
Yeah, they're high end price point and everything, but what I'm looking forward to is we'll give you an honest opinion on it, see how it is, and from there we'll just go. This is the one I'm really interested in. Because it's just a straight bourbon. So
correct. And let's not forget our main thing that you always do. So let's not forget the control in the middle.
And hey, like and subscribe. Honestly, guys, we want to hear your opinions on this. Let us know what you think.
And we did get the comments about the sound, so we have been working on that. And stay tuned for videos in the future. We're going to continue to work on that. So let's try this one. Cheers.
Cheers.
And 15 stars. Here we go.
Indeed. Oh, it's got a good nose to it. Got a great nose to it. A little bit, yeah.
I'm just...
Yeah, go for it.
Actually, the nose is actually really good. So what? When I actually nosed these prior to this, the nose out of the bottle, I'm not going to say specifically which one. I'm going to let Charles try this for the first time. But there's one particularly on this table that the nose is outstanding out of the bottle. And completely changes when you put it in a glass.
It's good. It's great. And the nose on this is great. It's got a good bourbon. It's just a great bourbon nose. First sip, got a little bit of ethanol to me on the first sip.
So after you do that first sip and after that first nose, you're going to get a little bit of that proof that I noticed. And it does wake you up, especially if you start with this one that says bourbon.
Yep. No, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
So what I have to determine and decide is do I run out and buy this one, this one, this one, or this one
Yep.
to try it as a bourbon fan? So that's what we're going to try to help alleviate if you don't buy all four of them, to do your own side-by-side like we're about to do. Which again, thank you to Empire
Yes.
and that distribution to be able to let us try these samples to help notify to the market that it is available and look for it on the shelf soon.
Indeed, yeah. So second sip, definitely don't get the proof on it as much. It's gotten better.
But I'm getting it on the nose.
Yeah,
man.
and what's crazy, what's funny to me, is it almost, it's kind of unassuming a little bit.
It is. So this is a very, it's funny enough that you have a source between 7 and 15-year Kentucky bourbon,
Yeah,
but it tastes like it's just bourbon.
yeah. Third sip.
Man, see, I'm on the second. So I'm a little bit behind on that because I was kind of hung up on that nose with a little bit of the ethanol that was doing. Now, keep in mind, when I was nosing these earlier, it was out of the bottle. Now we're doing it from a Glencairn, which we've talked about this many times before. This is like a chimnea of bulbousy glasses.
Well, it's just
designed for that.
Yeah, it's just going to focus it right in on your...
So I'm really not mad at this on the second sip whatsoever.
No, not at all.
There's nothing that screams, I don't think it's going to necessarily knock my socks off, but I don't think it's ever going to let me down.
No.
This is a good rounded bourbon.
It's very good rounded. What I'm liking, I love older, and on this, on the back end, I'm getting that drying effect. For me, it's almost like that 15's kind of kicking
coming
in.
through.
Yeah, kind of kicking in a little bit.
But I do like the fact that none of this seems like it leans heavy on the 7. None of it seems like it's just a youthful. Because again, we are now talking about a higher tier price point, higher end bourbon. This is not an intro bourbon.
No.
This is not an intro, finished or rye. That's not what their goal is.
No,
here.
it's higher.
Yeah, so, but it doesn't drink like an intro, which
Well,
I'm glad to see because a lot of these in the market that we're seeing new brands come in have that similar price tag of, do I really want to spend that? And then you try it and you're like, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
And everything seems to be starting at 50 and some of them don't need to be at 50.
What? It's a marriage, right?
Yes.
And guess what? To me, it's a good marriage because you're exactly right. The 7, it's not like, some of those you can get where the youthful one is just knocking you in the pants. No, this one's good.
And not that 7 is young by any stretch. So all I'm saying is it doesn't lean on 7. Mm-hmm. It leans on a dead center. Mm-hmm. And so this kind of makes me think, which you've done it several times. We've had several people talk about it. This makes me almost think of certain blends from Bardstown Bourbon Company and Calumet Farms.
Yes. And I was kind of leaning more towards Calumet Farms, to be honest with you.
But less spice.
Yes.
Because, they exactly state what the mash bill is on those source barrels. And that's a higher rye, so the spice on that makes sense. But this to me is a more mellow version.
I am not upset with that.
No, I'm not either. And not to not mention, we won't be doing water in between. We're going with our standard old school from some of the earlier videos, light beer.
Light beer.
And so that's a very common thing in tastings that I do. Is I recommend light beer or water. Both work really well, and also crackers. But we're going to go with light beer on this, so that it still cleanses the palate, but not enough to bleed over to where we're drinking an IPA. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I cannot say anything wrong with this. It's good. It's a great combination. It's a good bourbon.
Yeah,
it's
actually a really good bourbon. Yeah. Now it's going to be up to the consumer to determine whether you want to spend the extra dollars for the high end price point to see what they've done, to see how good of a job they've done sourcing and marrying them. That's up to the consumer. So we're not here for that. We're here to let you know it's in the market. Thank you for finally getting something in Georgia that's different.
Yeah.
And now in Evans, again, it's probably in bigger cities, but we're not in a bigger city, and we're not worried about that. We're geared towards Evans and excited that it's here and available and finally on the shelf. And not for nothing, I like the bottles.
And also, honestly, like and subscribe. Tell us what you think. If you've had this before, we'd love to hear your comments down below.
Yeah, if you think it's awesome, let us know. If you think it's trash, let us know. Either way, we're going to think you're just commenting and voicing your opinion. You're not going to get some negative or positive shout out regardless.
Right, and that's what we just want comments. We want to hear your opinion, and we'll try to answer any questions you might have too. But, well, I mean, that's not a bad way to start. That's not a bad way to start at all.
So this is what really gets fun is now I've already nosed the bottles, and I made sure that Charles didn't because I'm mean and I'm like that. So now what we're going to do is have Charles nose the bottle on the sherry and then nose the glass and see the difference because that one's really entertaining as far as the nose goes.
All right, so going the triple first?
Yep, let's go ahead and go to dessert.
All right. Let's get the nose on it too. And just like you said, if you really get mad at somebody, just keep these. It's good weapons.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they try to steal your bourbon, pop them with the cork.
Ooh. Holy cow.
Yeah, I know.
That's almost like, it's almost like maple syrup. That's what it smells like.
It's like...
So this one is, which casks is this?
This is the sherry.
Sherry? Okay.
So if I remember correctly, the sherry is somewhere around 10 to 13 years.
Yep.
This one's sitting right around 100 and... What did we say? This one was 115 proof?
115.
So this was the higher proof. But I have a feeling with that sherry and as heavy as that nose smells on that, it's not going to taste anything like it.
I was just curious if the cork would just go down by
Charles,
itself.
I did a good job on that pour, by the way.
Yes, you did.
That's my apologies.
All right.
So much for a half ounce. That's like a half ounce plus.
3/4.
Yeah. But mine's a little bit less, so it
Ooh.
balances out.
Now, I don't get as
No,
much
that's what I'm saying.
sweetness.
Out of that bottle, it's like pure, amazing.
I mean,
Think of sherry aging.
yes.
And then whiskey distilled in it. Think Scotland, because they're doing a lot of scotches. Finish in that. That kind of sweet.
But
Almost dates.
Yeah, but I'm surprised. And that's what it was. You know, I'm saying maple syrup. It was more date-ish.
Yeah. But-
I agree with you on that.
And then some of those other fruits that even, you know, we're not talking about BT1 as far as Buffalo Trace
No.
National, those dark fruits, even though similar notes, but there's a more stronger, I could see someone saying raisin almost. Like a sweet sun-dried raisin or something.
But what's crazy is out of here,
Wow, it's completely
it's
different.
completely different at it. I mean, now you can smell the proof. I'm getting a little bit of proof on it out of the nose.
Oh, but wait till you try it.
But then it almost brightens up in the nose here a
This
little
is
bit.
a dessert pour in a glass. Just waiting for the after dinner time to sit in your recliner, enjoy a fine pour.
Holy cow.
And a higher proof and not even know it, just to relax you while you're watching, I don't know, Bourbon Tucky or Neat, or whatever video you want to watch.
Or Bourbon Banter Evans on.
Or Bourbon Banter Evans, preferably,
Yep,
you know, like
exactly.
and subscribe. So this is
at
nothing like 115 proof.
No. This might drink like a 90.
Now, keep in mind, we did
Might.
step up in price point. So again, these are all high end to start. This is now going up another price point.
And, you know, rightfully so. I can understand it.
Yeah. I mean, you got a 10 to 13 year. Now, we did look at this earlier, and I didn't mean to cover my mouth on that. We did look at this earlier. They did a really good job on certain parts of their labels to not notify exactly where
Yes,
the
they did.
source comes from. This one specifically is Kentucky.
Yep.
Some of these are not. Some of them are Kentucky and Indiana.
That would
So
be
that
this
would be the one we're trying right now. So you got to imagine this. If it's a 10-year, that means the minimum age finished sherry cask barrel that they're using from Kentucky and Indiana, both of them blended, are going to be 10 years. Yeah. So that's pretty impressive. But that first sip is dessert in a glass. Now, can I say that I can sit there and crush this bottle? I'll get right back to you after the second sip.
No, I couldn't.
I'm curious to see what you say.
I don't think I could.
No, you just wait. You know?
Okay. Well, I only had one sip too. So.
You know, if they have sherry flavored ice cream, comment.
Ooh.
Let me know in the comments if there's a sherry flavored ice cream.
Okay. Now, second sip, that just got a lot more easier to drink. A lot easier to drink.
So I think we might have a new running of finished aged spirit versus Tom Moore.
Yeah.
Thomas Moore, which a lot of people crapped on that brand,
Oh,
which I don't think they should have
No.
because a lot of them are really good. They just came in at a little bit tough of a price point for some of the youthfulness. Their port finish was fantastic.
Port was the best.
sherry was good.
I like
The
the port
cab was
one,
good, but the port was definitely the best. But this kind of reminds me of some of the better finished sherry ones. The bottle obviously reminds me of the original days of the 9-year Bell Mead sherry.
Yes,
cask.
indeed.
But I'm going to lean on this one, saying 15 stars has this one for the W versus that Bell Mead Cherry, which was really nice.
This one is very good.
Yeah.
This one is very good. And second sip, it's gotten better. I don't know if I want to go for the third because then they might not get the bottle back. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, so not only is it a nice dessert pour, but that sweetness kind of breaks off. It becomes a really nice, like, okay, now I'm used to this, and my mouth and the palate it's not drawing you up in sugar, but you don't think you're gonna have a sugar, hangover.
No.
But it's got that initial punch of sharing the first sip and the nose, but then after second and third sip, it just kind of dissipates to a nice, well balanced.
Oh, and then it's just got a good flavor. It just lingers on the tongue.
But the color.
Yeah,
we
the
didn't
color.
even talk about
Yeah.
the color.
The color
of these two finished ones.
that is so dark. I mean, and granted, I've got a little bit of an off-center look at it, but compared to these, this one looks so much darker, which I'm assuming this one probably is darker since it's triple cast. So That is so
Oh
good.
man, wait till you get to that last sip.
I don't know if I want to get to the last sip. I
That's
want to
true.
put this one. Have to get another Glen for it.
Yeah. I just like the way after it sits on the palate, after you compress your tongue to the roof of your mouth, you get this extra little spot of that burst of sherry on top of what you just had. And then it's like getting an extra added flavor. It's almost like there's a little bit left on the tongue, and then you kind of like compress it
Yeah.
against the roof of your mouth, and then it's like, oh, there's like another little hint of, oh, there's some and a little bit of sherry left over there, and it's really pleasant.
What's crazy is the least little bit at this 115 proof. You get the least little bit of tingle, at least I do, right on the tip of my tongue. That's it. That's all I'm getting.
If this is 115, if you blinded me on this, I'm going 100.
I was gonna say lower than that, to be honest.
You really
with you. I was gonna say probably like in the 90s.
You really could.
But I just get a little tingle on the tongue. That's it.
Yeah.
On the tip of the tongue.
Again, we are not here to get anybody excited about anything except for how good that sherry is. I'm just kidding. No, just to let you guys know that this is available.
Yeah.
You know, so again, this is in the market. It's up to you whether you like it or not. Everybody's palate's different. We've said this many times.
Yeah.
We're just thankful for the opportunity to try these prior to it being mass produced, which they're going to do a good job of putting it out there. So don't worry if you really want to try a bottle, it should be there.
So honestly, second bottle. I've never had this before. The first time I've ever having these. Yeah, stepping up. I mean, it's a step up. It's good. It's good. And, you know, just like Justin said, we're not here to talk about price point or anything of that nature. It's good juice.
Yes.
It's good. It's good bourbon.
So
it's
far.
It's up to the consumer.
Yep. So
if
far,
they want to spend the money for it.
Out of 2, they're hitting 2 for 2.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk down about any of them currently, or say that it's not worth it. Again, it's up to you to determine. You work hard for your money, spend it how you want to.
Exactly.
If you want to spend it on this, that's up to you.
And then I'd be curious to see what you think about it compared to some other ones at the same price point. I know, because that's a zinger, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now. Oh man, this is wild. Now it's time for the triple cast.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one, to be honest with you.
There we go. Much better half-ounce pourer. I've only been doing this for how many years? Well, I got it backwards that time. My fault. My
So
fault.
I got to do it.
Oh yeah, you got to.
Ooh, man.
Yeah. Wait till you smell the glass, though. This is the really
It's another sweet. It's another sweet
extremely,
nose.
really big change, though.
All right. So now we'll go to the Glen.
So this is the triple cast finish.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
That lights you. I mean, that's
It's
just
not
like,
even anything like the bottle.
No, that's just.
So the sherry was different. This is like
This is like ethanol, just straight.
complete ethanol,
Yes.
like a burst of ethanol, and you're just kind of confused as to what it is. So the triple cask from 15 Stars is a port, rum, and cognac.
And what they do not say is, like we stated before, only 2 that we know of that said anything right now is this. This one you can't find anything.
Nothing
on
on there that says where it's from,
No.
which is completely cool. But what I do like is it's somewhere between a 16-year and an 8-year
Yes.
marriage of whatever that is. So there could be some 8-year of each one, or there could be some 16-year of each one. We do know that it's an 8 and a 16-year. And this is back to what's crazy is with that ethanol on that nose is 105 proof.
Man, you right off the nose, you would think that's like close to 130.
You would think it's a barrel proof straight off.
I mean,
of, you know.
But now just blowing ethanol off of
I'm
it.
telling you, man, it's just like
I know.
But so, okay, let me ask you this, Charles. So, as many whiskeys that we nosed over the course of time, do you think that the reason that nose in this glass has a tendency to have more ethanol to it is because of the finishing, and we're getting notes of the barrels it was finished in versus actually ethanol? Because that's actually kind of confusing. And if you guys have done that before, comment and let us know that it's finished whiskeys versus standard bourbon that this proves.
Yeah, and I would say to me, out of a Glen, finished whiskeys do tend to have a little bit more of that punch.
It's like a more effervescence to
Yeah.
it. Like it's got like a big...
Right. Or it's almost like, I don't know, for some reason it just wants to let go.
It's like
I
it's
don't know.
bubbling up
Yeah.
with smells.
Yeah.
You know. That hence the effervescence.
Uncut, unfiltered.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I know. It's almost like they put a little bit of a bubbler in there and just
Yeah, and just
letting
like-
it,
yeah.
yeah. I'm impressed. Ooh. Man.
So, as Alan wants to be silent in the background, I'm just kidding. We did have somebody in the background say that this one is Kentucky, though it's not stated on the bottle.
Okay.
So,
Good to know.
that means just like some of the other places that do a lot of sourcing and things like that, do your research. If you really want to know the origin, you can probably find it. Similar things, Doc Swenson's. Doc Swenson's at one point had a really good portfolio of what actually was incorporated in their blends.
Now, the one thing we did forget to say, as we can see on these are all NCF.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
Yep.
Very good point. So none of these are all non-chill filtered for added flavor.
Yep.
So at least that's what non-chill filtered
Is
stating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
supposed to do.
Yeah, that's semantics.
But it's one of those, go back to some of our previous videos. We do NCF in there. One of my favorites are NCF bourbons. So, excuse me.
See, I'm already on 2.
First sip, it's kind of, I don't know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's a different sweet. And I'm going to stick with it's a different sweet. And it's kind of drying.
It's very drying.
And it kind of makes you kind of take your tongue and ring around your mouth for the pockets and look for something else because it is kind of drying.
It's almost like, am I getting more of the cognac than anything else? I'm wondering if it's more of the cognac barrel than anything.
I don't know, but the sweetness says rum.
Right. But see, I got a little bit more kind of rummish on that one.
That's sherry, though.
I know. I don't know why.
You know what we're not talking about on the triple, though, is the port. I don't think it's port heavy.
No, not at all.
We're big fans of port.
I love the
stuff,
ports.
yeah. I mean, we've had 1792 port back in the day.
Yep.
We've had Black Ridge port, which is, to me, what I call 2.0.
Right.
And then you've had, actually,
Thomas
technically 3.0. Thomas More is 2.0 if you really want to get. And then 3.0 Black Ridge. And then we've had Boondocks port finish, which is an 8-year.
Yeah.
Which those 4 specifically are really nice port finishes. Now, this is not port alone.
No.
So
that's why I'm just curious. I mean, I'm wondering if maybe for me it's more the cognac side of it's coming out than anything else. I don't know. It's if I were to have to say right now, out of the 3 bottles that I've tried, this is the one that I'm not as impressed with. Not that it's bad.
it's more drying.
Yeah.
It really is very drying.
But it's not that it's not. It's not that it's bad. It's just I'm not as impressed with this one.
I'm going to go with, I like the sherry for the dessert part.
Yes.
This is interesting because of the sweet notes and stuff as far as drying, but it's so much so that I think it's almost triple blend is too much.
I think so.
It's almost like they went too much wine.
Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe, I don't know. So again, higher price point, so we're now moving in that direction. So again, it's up to you guys as far as that. We're just letting you know it's available and giving you our honest opinion on it. So far, I think we're in agreement. We have no complaints on the bourbon.
No.
The sherry is like a dessert pour in a glass.
Definitely one. I think if your wife or significant other is not really into it, I think it's one to give that a try with them because it's very desserty. Yeah,
It's very desserty, yeah. And the triple cask, nothing against the triple cask. I think it's good. I don't know that it's going to be worth that price tag when you see it, even though these are higher end, only because of how drying it is. I think it's good for one pour. But then after that, I think it's going to have a tendency of people are going to be like, well, it's kind of busy, like a lot going on.
I think it's a good conversation piece, to be honest with you. I think
Actually, in a blind or in a bourbon tasting, that'd be a fun one to bring.
Yep.
So, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and stamp this as a BBE fun blind pour to trick people or mess with them, not necessarily trick them, but to mess with them to try to figure out what that is. Because I guarantee you they'll figure out that it's different, but the drying effect is going to make them think more tanning oaks for older stuff, even though there is older whiskeys in that.
And what's fun is if you decide to do that, we've done it to some people before. It's good. It's very interesting to see what people say about that.
Definitely.
And that's why I think this one is a very good conversation piece. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said put it in a blind. See what happens.
See what people think.
Yep.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
And so we have one left to do. Again, thank you guys for joining in. Cheers.
Yep. Like and
Our
subscribe.
glass is empty, so what's in your glass?
Yep. Like and subscribe, guys. And then honestly, we have the control here, so.
And
I'll be curious. You know what?
I'm not saying that we're going to do the control
No,
on camera
probably not.
because there'll be 4, and that's just a good bit. But what I am saying is I have a feeling that control is going to stack up very nicely with this one.
I think so. I'm curious. Now we've got that last one over there.
And the only reason I state this one is because that's the one we tried first.
Yep.
Other than that, we don't know what the control is.
Right.
I mean, so, the rye?
I think so.
Shall we
I think we ride on. Like and subscribe, everybody. Honestly, give us your opinion. If you've had this before, please let us know what you think. And honestly, if you've had it and you listening to us, kind of tell us what you think. If we're spot on, if we're completely off. I'm curious.
Can we get some sound effects? Nope, never mind. That's just the cork.
I mean, it's
lethal.
yeah. It's almost like they welded two huge bolts together, rounded it off, and that's what it is. I mean, that's got to at least weigh. I mean, I don't know.
You put that on in a nice group of bourbons when you're not paying attention, you might shatter the glass.
Well, that's why I said earlier, I just put it on there and just seeing if it would just fall down by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to go on about a cork, but
it's impressive.
It is impressive.
Oh, and might we add on there, if you look at the cork, and on top of that, the metal part is actually 1795 with the old eagle on there to represent an old coin, if I remember correctly.
I am very, as far as aesthetics, when it comes down to the bottles, they've done a very good job. I'm very impressed with their labeling. I'm very impressed how they hide stuff, how they state stuff. It's a good shaped bottle too.
Yeah. Well, I love the bottle. I mean, that reminds me. It is the Whiskey Row Series bottle for Old Forester. The labeling is, to me, you know, if we were going to rate it in our charred barrel series, I'm going to give the glass itself.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to give that, you know, that's going to get the 3-level char. The paper labels and so on and so forth, I think they can clean that up and probably do a better job. But I don't dislike it. And I like the colors to differentiate each one, so I'll probably give that the same 3-level char as far as the BBE rating goes.
Yep.
And the whiskey, I'm going to keep this, actually, I haven't tried the rye yet, so I'm going to keep that to myself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. They've done a great job. I'm just, again, shout out to everybody. Like and subscribe.
Yep. And without you guys, we wouldn't have a reason to aimlessly talk about whiskey.
Yeah, that is definitely
like
right.
And subscribe.
Uncut, unfiltered.
I'm just kidding around. No, thank you again to Empire.
Yeah, Empire, thank you.
They're the distributors. They're the ones. Without them, we wouldn't have this to talk about. And thank you again. So we can't thank them enough. That has got a...
It's got a rye nose.
You know who I really want to try this rye?
Devin.
Yeah. Or Brett.
Brett would like it. Oh, man.
That nose is like extremely in your face rye. But at the same time, I almost get like a...
I am impressed by that. First sip, rye, you think spice, right? No. I am not getting spice at all.
That's why we saved the rye to the end. We talked about this before we did the video.
Yep.
Because if we did the rye first, then it could really change the way your palate is going into it. You're not necessarily going to blow your palate.
No, it depends on the rye, though.
It does depend on the rye.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's very mild.
Very mild.
Yeah.
But it's almost, I don't want to say sweet, but it's almost got, it's got a little bit.
You might be honest.
It's almost got a little bit of a sweet taste to it. I mean, first thing I'm thinking of rye, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to get blown out by spices or anything. It's got that rye taste, but it's got a little bit of sweetness to it.
Wait till you get that second one. So, I've got my opinion already formulated based off that second sip on the rye. And
a little sweet corn on that?
It's not. It should be rye.
I know.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
All right, so
that's good.
I'm gonna say it's a really good rye.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say it's not the rye for me because it doesn't taste like rye.
Right.
It has a slight rye capability, or component, or potential to be a rye, but that right there,
it's sweet.
That's it's not a standard high rye that I'm thinking. So if I'm thinking 95.5,
yeah,
or if I'm thinking, you know, even Kentucky, I mean, Bardstown Bourbon, they do 95.5 rye, so it's not just them. But even if you go, I think it's Old Forester when they rolled theirs, the new one at the Old Forester, I want to say that was like 64 or something like that, 61.
Yeah, I think 60.
I think it was like 51 for the Woodford when they rolled that rye out, and like 63. It was in the 60s. I can't remember, you know, based off of my memory being great. But that was a really awesome rye, and you know, even comparing to Taylor rye, as far as that goes. You're upper echelons because these are upper tier price point wise that it needs to compete there. I don't think this one's going to be able to compete as well.
No, I mean,
in a rye category. Is it good? Yes, but it doesn't. It's not in your face rye. So if you're not a big rye fan,
I think this is probably a rye for you.
Right,
and that's kind of where
the price point might turn you down.
Yeah, that's where and that's why I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain. There's a rye I've had that's very similar to this. I cannot think of it right off the top of my head. I did a rye video, not a video, but a rye tasting with my father-in-law and everything, and it was just nothing but rye. And there was one in there that's very similar to this.
This just doesn't have that in your...
No, it's not.
It's very mild, extremely mild.
To me, this is beginner's entry into rye.
Extremely beginner's
Yes.
intro into rye. So therefore, I'm going to have to, I mean, if I was going to rate it, this one aside, it's not going to be where I'm going to go in the rye world,
No.
but I'm definitely going to seek some of these bourbons out. And so again, these are in the market, you know, look for them on the shelves. It's going to be up to you to determine whether you might think it's the best rye you've ever had. So don't take our word for it, try it for yourself, or take our word for it and then send us a bottle to, you know, compare versus what you want to do, or if you meet us and compare one with you.
And the thing is, honestly, guys, if there's a chance that this is out of your price point or whatever, there's going to be places you can go that will actually offer pours of this, and give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try.
Yeah, I think I will not say there's a bottle on this table that is not worth a try.
No, not a chance.
Yep.
No, 100%. And I like every bit about this rye for what it is, but I'm just not saying that it's going to be the one that I choose in the rye category based off of what I prefer. Now, in the bourbon category, I can find a place for these.
Yeah.
Now, I just got to find a place in my wallet for those.
Yeah.
And this as well. But I'm just saying, as an overall, what we do, what we talk about, we're just genuinely telling you about these whiskeys in front of us.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my brain. I can't think of it, so I'll have to do it off camera. But there's a rye that I've had that's very similar to this, but just can't do it right now. So, oh well. Everybody, honestly, thanks again. Like and subscribe. Let us know what your thoughts are. Empire, thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Yes. So cheers to you guys. What's in your glass? Ours is empty again. So off camera, we'll be going to the control. And again, we might do a little comparison.
Yep.
So thank you guys for joining in. Let us know, like, subscribe, like Charles always says. The best parts of that is letting us know in the comments anything that you guys want to hear, know, or like or don't like.
Yep. Appreciate it.